What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Now, before we get into the interview, this is the deck list that we talk about in the interview. And as you see, it is actually 57 cards. He didn't want to give me the full list, but he gave me a skeleton list. And as it means skeleton, he gave me like a one of, like he played one Manectric, one Trubbish, one Garbodor. So I kind of filled in the majority of our stuff. But there's some stuff you can look into. So, of course, this is a Toad Trick Garbodor deck. And we haven't seen this deck played much at all. But, so basically you have Manectric, and the tech one you use here is Assault Laser. So Assault Laser does 60 plus 60 more damage if there's a tool attached to the active Pokemon. And you can do this by putting a head ringer on your opponent's Pokemon. And once you have a Muscle Band, you can do 140. And with the Verbank and Laser, you actually do 170 total to knock out the majority of the Pokemon. Now, of course, when Manectric is bad against like Landorus, Lucario, stuff like that, you have Seismitoad to use for. Now, Seismitoad Quake Punch does 30, and your opponent can play any animal cards from his or her hand. But with the Muscle Band, you do 50. With Laser Verbic, you do 80. So it's a pretty cool deck. And like I said, it is a skeleton list. So some cards you can look into is like maybe a Jirachi, a Mewtwo. You can look into Team Flare Grunt. You can look into Zerosic, Pokemon Center Lady. You kind of adjust as kind of your own liking and see what you really like about this deck. This deck is very, I guess, interchangeable, and you just want to find the right kinds of stuff. Like I said, I don't know the counts he actually played. Like, he could have played more Skyla, more Colors. I just took a guess. Besides that, I hope you enjoyed the interview, and thanks for watching. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Instead of doing a states question answers video, we're actually doing a regionals question answer video. And who are you?
Tamao Cameron.
And where are you from?
UK, Coventry.
Okay, and what regionals did you play at last weekend?
I mean, technically it wasn't actually a regional, it's a special premier event called UK Southeast International Challenge or something.
So just making up your own events?
Yeah, it was meant to be like, it was meant to be our UK version of the ECC, but nobody came over, so it was basically another regional. So.
Well, how many people were there?
Not many. about 40 maybe, okay. I think. Which is like our smallest regional so far, I think, which is crazy because it was London, pretty much.
Okay.
It's close to London anyway.
How'd you end up doing a Swiss?
So, after Swiss I went 4-1-1, and that put me in 7th seed, going into top 8.
Now, what were the decks you played against, and did you win or lose against them?
Alright, so, round 1 I actually pretty much played the mirror. It was, I played Mega Manectric Toad Garb, and it's, in theory, a pretty bad matchup, because Mega Manectric is really hard to deal with my deck. I just don't do enough damage to it with Rough Seas out and stuff like that. But match 1, unfortunately for me, he draws dead. And then match 2, I worked it out, I needed 4 turns to win, but I only had like 1 card left in deck. And I needed to keep N-ing, and I knew my trump card was in prizes, and I had to keep N-ing until I could get that trump card from prizes. And I was lucky, and I managed to get it from the first 2 prizes that I got, so I ended up clutching that out. Round 2 land bats is pretty easy matchup, as I've got Mewtwo and Toad to deal with weakness, so it's just a standard game 1. I got Garb out and rolled him. Game 2, iffy start, and ended up going like 4 prizes down, but I pulled it back, and I think he misplayed a couple of times to let me get back into the game, and I ended up taking that.
Okay.
Round 3 eggs. As a good friend of mine, teammate, has driven me all over the country, and he destroyed me game 1. But match 2, I basically needed to wake up once to win the game, and I just couldn't wake up. It was so frustrating. So I just needed that one Quaking Punch, and then he'd deck out, but I lost that 2-0. So
how many times did you say sleep on the sleep flips?
Oh no, it was like literally 1 turn. It was one crucial turn of being able to Quake and Punch him, because he had no more Executors left in deck. I would have killed his Executor, and he couldn't trump card because it was in the discard, so he wouldn't be able to VS Seeker for it. So I would have just ended up winning that game in the long run.
Okay.
Round 4 I actually ID'd with my housemate because we were 2-1, and if either of us lose, we're out, so we're just like, should we ID now? And it gives us both a good chance of making cut then. So it was a round 4 ID, which I've never done before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it paid off in the end, because round 5 I got paired off against Speed Donphan, which was actually much harder than I thought, because with teammates they can just keep up pumping a lot of damage. I won game 1, like a really long game, where they almost won with Wreck at the end, but I've worked it out that they just could never actually KO a Toad with Wreck, so I always felt pretty confident. round 2, I just opened Lone Mewtwo, like 4 DC in my hand, and I was like, I pretty much lose that game straight away. And in round 3, turn 1 Toadlock, or turn 2 Toadlock, whenever I could. And it's all trainer-based engine, so he just drew nothing after that. And then final round, I had to win and get in. I played against Virgin, which is actually it doesn't look like a good matchup on paper, but with Manectric and Laserbank and Garbodor out, you're one-hit carrying everything in their deck.
Yeah.
So with Headringers as well, like it just kind of went as it should do. I drew absolutely dead match 1, but match 2 was standard, and match 3, I Lysandered up. He played he played Mewgen, so Mew Dimensional Valley, and he also played a Tech Toad, and I just Lysandered that up and stalled behind it. But time was called, and I was like, this is a bit iffy. I need like literally perfect Chorus to 10 to get me the win, and I got everything I needed from the Chorus to 10. So
there you go.
It was like a deck of 13, so I needed a laser and a Lysander, so
okay.
It was pretty likely, but I was lucky to win on the last 10 of time.
Yeah, still nervous.
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to lose that match. That would have been crushing. Or draw. Draw would have been horrible. So
yeah, if y'all would have went to, like, the time, did y'all work it out where y'all would have been other prizes, or it's like just a draw?
Well, it would have been like we got to last 10 of time. And I took my last 2 prizes in the last 10 of time, so I needed to win pretty much then.
Yeah.
And otherwise it would have been a draw. So.
Okay. So in top 8, what happened?
So top 8 was an absolute executor fest. There were 3 eggs in Top Cut, and I obviously played round 1, and thankfully got Laser Dunk round 1, match 1, on a lone egg, which is nice because every match you have to play against Executor, whether you win or lose, is probably soul crushing. So it was nice to just have a bit of a break. And then match 2, I put myself in a really good position, but he played Munna, and I needed to. He kept on flipping heads, and I got some switches, and I managed to get out of it sometimes. But after the switches ran out and stuff like that, I just couldn't keep up the Quaking Punch, and he just kept on getting crushing hammers, and I just ended up losing that. And then round 3, match 3, I just draw like an absolute god. I had like turn 2, double Toad, double Muscle Band, double DC, Garbodor with Floatstone. Like there's nothing an Executive player can do from that point if they don't play stuff like Flare Grunt or Xerasic, and I knew he didn't, so I just went all out in that match, and it was over pretty quickly.
Okay, very nice. So what happened in top 4?
So top 4, I actually played against the same Mewgen player that I played in round 6, so I was pretty confident going into it. To be honest, all 3 games were pretty standard. Like I won game 1. I think I went first. I think going first in that matchup was really huge. I put because he had to go pretty aggressive with Mew. Manectric deals with Mew so easily. Like I don't need any resources. I just need 2 energies to kill that.
Yeah.
And then if he's Emerald Slashed me for 50, I can Rough Seas, get that down to 20, and then Genesect has to G-Booster at that position. Otherwise it's just negligible damage. So that matchup went pretty standard. Match 2, I started Toad, which isn't terrible. I'd used Toad quite a lot in that matchup, but you don't want to start it. You want to use it later on in the match, and it just didn't end up going well. And I had to bench Jirachi as well, like turn 1, so I wasn't going to win that game. And game 3 again, just very standard. I got turn after turn knockouts on Mew, went 4 prizes up, and got the Garb out eventually. Took a while, but got the Garb out to 1-hit KO over Virizion, fresh Virizion with Headringer to win the game.
Okay, alright. So now you're in the finals. Are you nervous at all? Are you excited, or what?
I mean, I knew I was against. The annoying thing was the other matchup was Executor versus Yveltal. So obviously I'm rooting for the Yveltal player to win. But in the end, the Eggs player won. But I was happy for him as well because it got him closer to his invite. He's like 10 points off now, Luke Saban.
Okay.
Really nice guy. And we talk about Eggs all the time. Like literally all the time. Because I've been playing Eggs for pretty much all the half the cities and all the regionals so far. So we talk about Eggs all the time, and he's got a very different list to me with more 06 Flare and stuff like that. But match 1 I just dunk him, and match 2 I dunk him. So he starts lone egg match 1, and doesn't get, and I get Laser Dunk, and he starts Virizion match 2, and I get Toad turn 2, and I'm just doing 10 damage a turn, for like 6 turns, and then eventually get Muscle Band, and I just win the game off that.
So he never drew supporter or
Slowest
anything?
donk ever, but it was. No, it's really supportive. It's very supporter light. You just played 4 Junipers and the rest are Disruption supporters. So once the Toad is up, he can't really do anything. He can't get anything out. He can zero. He can like get rid of. He's Flare Grunted, but I always made sure I had a DC because I know his list and I know that he plays a heavy Flare Grunt line. So I was always very careful about that, and I just won the game off that. It's an unfortunate way to win, but I'd take a regional win like that. I'm not gonna lie.
I would too. Well, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now you talked about Executor a lot. Why did you not play it for this regionals?
I was worried. I hate the Virgin matchup with Executor. Absolutely hate it. But actually, there's 2 ways you can build Executor, I feel, and one of them gears more towards being able to beat the rest of the field, and one of them beats Toad. And I didn't really want a tunnel vision. I didn't want to make a metagame call and for it to turn out totally wrong. So I eventually just decided on Manectric Toad Garbodor, which is a deck my friend Luke Kirkham piloted to top 4 at ECC. He's my housemate actually, and I just felt that it was really solid in this metagame, and I thought I'd play that instead. Like, Eggs has done me well so far, but it's not gotten me a regionals win. It's gotten me close, it's got me top 4, it's gotten me close to Cities, it's come second at Cities with it, but I've never really got that win with it. And I felt it was time for a change, so I decided to go for this.
So how many points are you at?
I'm sitting on 752 championship points right now.
Oh, that's a lot.
It's a nice amount, yeah.
Yeah? Where does that put you in Europe overall?
So, not including Worlds points, I'm 4th at the moment in Europe. So, I'm looking good for top 22. I hope that alone is enough, but I'm going to go into a couple more league challenges just to bump it up like a couple of 20 points or so.
How many do you think is needed for the top 22?
Well, my aim was 750, so
okay.
I'm pretty happy to get to that. I thought between like 720 and 740 would be the rough cut-off, but it's so hard to tell because it's the first season we've done this. So
that's very true. And are you going to go to any more regionals?
Yes, I've got one more regional next weekend, which happens to be a 2-minute walk from this international challenge. So, yeah, pretty much in the same place.
Okay, and are you going to switch decks, or you going to stay with the same deck, or what?
Depends. Like, I can only get points by getting to the final of this regional, so I could try hard and play this deck again, or play Eggs, one of the 2 decks that I'm comfortable with at the moment. Or I could try and make something really fun that might do well. I was trying to still keep it competitive, but something that'd also be fun at the same time, but that yet to see. Probably stick with something competitive and try and do well, but we'll see when it gets to it.
Yeah, that's true. Now, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody or anything?
Yeah, definitely. I'll give a shout out to my team. So Luke, James, Alex, Corey, Ben, Tom, Charlie, and Ollie. Like, great team to be working with, and without them, I definitely wouldn't have gotten. If I do get top 22, I definitely wouldn't be able to get there without them. They drive me around everywhere, give me ideas, help me with lists. So yeah, very appreciate all of their help. So definitely.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck at the tournaments.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, bye.